Good. Good evening. This is the Planning Commission. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. And on behalf of the City of Independence, welcome to the Planning Commission for July the 14th, 2026. Just a few comments before we get started tonight. For those that do wish to speak tonight, I'm going to ask that you remain always civil. We've seemed to have gotten away from that in some of the meetings. I will gavel you if we have discourteous, if we have crude, or if we have very loud shouting. And at that point, the very nice police officers may escort you out. So just keep that in mind. We want everyone to speak, have an opportunity to share your thoughts and feelings, but we'd like it to remain very civil and productive. Also at this time, we will limit speaking time to 5 minutes per person. All right. For those that do speak, you're going to want to introduce yourself and your home address and address all your comments to me, the chair. Any questions or any comments about somebody else will not be accepted, and no names of anyone will be accepted either. So at this point, if you do believe you would like to speak tonight, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to stand and take an oath. Anyone who thinks they'll speak. All right, raise your right hand, please. All right, I solemnly swear to tell the truth to this commission tonight. If so, say I will. All right, thank you so much. All righty, staff, I'm ready for roll call.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Here.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Here.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Present.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Present.
Commissioner Torres,
Here.
Commissioner Young,
Here.
and Chairman Wiley.
Here. Thank you. All right.
Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Thank you very much. Any comments about, or would anybody like to pull an item off the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, I will call for the vote.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
and Chairperson Wiley.
Yes, and the motion,
Wait, you missed me.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
all right, now it is approved. Thank you very much. Our first public hearing for the night is case number 2612504, which is a rezoning PUD for 19901 East M 78 Highway. Staff, we welcome your report.
As you stated, this is case number 2612504, an application for approval of a rezoning preliminary development, for a property located at 19901 East Missouri 78 Highway for a daycare. The property is located at the southwest corner of Jackson Drive and Missouri 78 Highway, approximately in eastern Independence. Here is a zoning district map of the site and the surrounding properties. In 1962, the subject site was assigned a single-family residential zoning district classification, and since that time it has remained under that same zoning classification. The surrounding area is characterized by single-family properties and civic institutions such as schools. This site is comprised of a total of 4 tax parcels totaling approximately 16.5 acres. Again, that's at the southwest corner of Jackson Drive and 78 Highway. You can see on the aerial imagery the location of the property and the driveways from Missouri 78 Highway and one on the east from Jackson Drive. Here's some street level imagery of the subject site from Missouri 78 Highway. Looking westbound and eastbound along 78 Highway, and looking southbound and northbound on Jackson Drive on the east side of the subject site. And this request constitutes a use of the existing building for the daycare operations. The exhibit in front of you on the slide has been submitted as part of a building permit application. So the applicant has designated certain areas of their church which are already being used for youth programming on Sunday school and so forth for a Monday through Friday daycare that will serve 30 to 50 children. So the relevant section of city code, the reason for the rezoning request relates to permitted uses within residential zoning districts. As you can see on the slide here, that this is a table that indicates the permitted uses in residential zoning districts. Daycares are permitted uses. However, daycare centers defined by the amount of children that are served in those daycare centers are prohibited in residential zoning districts. So the request tonight is to permit a daycare center at this property located in a single-family subdivision. Staff does recommend approval of the application with 2 conditions tonight. That is all for my presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions for staff? Seeing none, I will invite the applicant forward. Once again, just state your name and your home address.
Hi, I'm Cindy Lombardo. I'm part of the leadership team there at Eastside Church. My home address is 1617 North Glenview Court, Independence, Missouri, 64056.
All right, what would you like us to know about Eastside and the daycare?
It's a wonderful church. We have young families. We have some that are teachers close by, also at Centerpoint Hospital. And we've been told several times that there is such a demand for daycare still in this area, because there's several that have closed as of lately in the last few years. I think it'll be a great opportunity for lots of young families.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why your church needs this?
It seems to be such a need in the area foremost, and also it'll bring more people into the church, more young families too, so which is always a good thing.
How many are you currently serving, or do you want to serve?
It would be under 100 children.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Anyone? All right, you may be seated.
Thank you.
All right, Gabe, could you give me just a little more context to where current daycare, similar versus the number that they're requesting?
Can you repeat that question?
Can you just give me a little more information about typical daycare versus how many they're wanting?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I'm going to refer back to this section of the city code in residential districts. So daycares are permitted out of a house or out of a commercial space. And in this particular district, it's a residential zoning district, and you know, typically the City of Independence will receive a business license application for a daycare facility, you know, that serves 6 or fewer children out of a house. And in that case, you obtain a license from the state of Missouri, you obtain a permit from the health department, and you obtain a business license to operate that daycare facility. So that would be a typical example of a daycare facility. Then you have your kind of other classifications of daycare facilities. So in your commercial space that has, you know, a playground and has a larger area that permits a greater number of individuals being served, whether that's adults or children. So in commercial spaces, daycare centers serving 21 or greater individuals is permitted. So those are typically what we see in the realm of licensing or permitting for these kind of establishments. So in this particular case, it's a church in a residentially zoned district.
Okay, thank you very much. That helped. Any additional questions? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Or, excuse me, no, I am not. Is there anyone present who'd like to speak in favor of this case? Anyone would like to speak in favor? Oh, go ahead and come forward, sir. Were you sworn in? All right, great.
My name is Stephen Newby. I live at 1005 Northwest Crestwood Drive in Grain Valley, Missouri. I'm here as the financial officer for the Beacon Heights Community of Christ Church, which is located just to the southwest of the subject property. We do not have any opposition to the use as a daycare. The only question I have is the experience I have with PUDs in a different state is if this owner or another owner down the road would want to do something different than that, would there be another public hearing and case required in order for that to happen?
Okay, I will refer that to staff.
So the planned unit development application in the city code allows for additional uses, land uses, as you see in this table on the slide, outside of what is permitted under the base zoning district. So in this case, the application is solely for an additional use to be allowed in that zoning district. If there were proposals in the future to change the nature of that business activity beyond what's being permitted here, then that would require a separate application. Now, of course, we would review the proposal if it's permitted, if it's a land use that's permitted by right in a residential zoning district, then that of course does not require any modifications to the PUD. But if it's something that's not permitted by right, or you know a different proposal or modification of the site, that may be brought back to the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you very much. Does that answer your
That
question,
answers
sir?
my question.
And
Thank
did you have
very-
anything else?
I do not.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Anyone? All right, do I have anyone that'd like to speak in opposition of this case? Anyone to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none, I will now close the hearing.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner O'Neill.
I move to approve case number 26-125-04.
Right, I have a first motion
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Nesbitt. Any final questions? All right, I will now call for the vote.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Yes, and the motion does pass, 7-0 for case number 26-125-04, rezoning PUD for 19901 East M78 Highway. All right, good luck with your daycare, and thank you for helping the community. All right, we will move on to our other business and case number 2640078, which is a short-term rental at 12808 East 47th Terrace Court South.
So, there we go. So for this case, 26478, the applicant Elena Girang is requesting a short-term rental for 12808 East 47 Terrace Court South. So as you can see from the vicinity map here, it's in the extreme southwest corner of the city subdivision known as Voorhees Vale, not far from Norfleet and 47th intersection. So this is the notification area. As you can see, the surrounding properties to the north of 47th and those throughout the subdivision surrounding in the other three directions are indicated here as getting notice. So this is the zoning map. This area is zoned R6 PUD. Allows for, because the planned unit development attached units, even though it is zoned R6. And you can see commercial across the street to the north of 47th. So here's an aerial photograph showing that western side of this duplex that abuts 47th on its rear. This duplex is the unit itself. The west unit is 1,432 square feet, and it has a driveway that can accommodate up to 2 vehicles. Further, the garage can accommodate 2 vehicles, and there's room for street parking as well. There's about 35 feet between those 2 driveways. And another thing to highlight, this was a property that was approved for use as a short-term rental for the June and July World Cup FIFA period. And now they want to make this more permanent. So this shows that unit there on the west side, and their little green space there. And here's the floor plan for the property. You can see the primary bedroom and back, as well as living areas and kitchen up front, and a guest bedroom there up top. And then in the basement, there is also a second bedroom. And you can see that it does have fire escape access through a window, climbable window, as well as the stairs there up front. Here's the parking plan. On the parking plan, they indicated 4 parking places in the driveway. Staff was unsure that would really be the case, particularly if you had large trucks or whatever. But they do have enough parking in that they have space in the garage for 2 cars. They could put 2 cars in their driveway, and of course, they have a street parking as well. And so this shows the nearest short-term rental to this property is way at the southern edge of Voorhees Vale, outside of this notification zone or distance requirement. Staff recommendations are here. Of note are the item number 4, minimum of 6 adults total for the 3 bedrooms.
And that concludes my staff report, and I'm ready to take any questions you may have.
All right. Commissioners, any questions for staff?
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Nesbitt.
I guess I'm a little lost. Why do they have to have another approval if we did it for June? I mean, I don't understand the June. I thought when we approved short-term rentals, it was for a year or better.
Well, that didn't go, this didn't go before you. This was the administrative approval that lasted just for 2 months
Oh,
for
okay.
For
FIFA.
FIFA.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, I invite the applicant forward. Hi, please state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Elena Grung, and my address is 12808 East 47th Terrace Court South.
All right, what would you like us to know about
Chair.
your short-term rental?
Chair.
Yes.
I don't think they sworn in.
Were you sworn in, ma'am?
No.
Okay, is anyone else present that was not sworn in and thinks they'd like to speak? Anyone else? All right, go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead and repeat your name and your address for us.
Yeah, sure. My name is Elena Grung, and my address is 12808 East 47th Terrace Court South.
Okay, great. What would you like to tell us about your short-term rental?
Sure, yeah. So we first did a trial with the FIFA for just June and July. Obviously, since July is still happening, we've remitted taxes for June, the transient guest tax, and we've also complied with all of the city requirements and the licensing, as well as making sure we have consistent noise monitoring. And we've had the short-term rental inspection as well as the fire inspection, and we've made sure to consistently communicate with all of our guests and made sure that they would be acceptable for the neighborhood and the HOA as well. And we go through Airbnb for all of those, the leasing requests.
How did you think it went through FIFA?
It went pretty well. Yeah, we've been enjoying it pretty far. And so, yeah, it's been a really good experience, especially being more like a younger entrepreneur. But yeah, no, I think it's been going pretty well.
All right. Anything else you'd like us to know?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Chair,
Commissioner Nesbitt.
are you the owner of half the duplex or the whole duplex?
It's just the half.
Okay, so you own just half of it.
That's correct.
Okay, and you, I guess, have talked to neighbors and everything? Okay,
Yeah, they're aware.
okay.
Any additional questions?
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
just curious, the address given as the address of, home address of record was the address of the property. Does the applicant live in the address, in the home, or are they living elsewhere?
Yeah, so that is just my current address, but as of right now, I'm residing elsewhere.
And going forward, you would also reside elsewhere?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Any additional questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present that would like to speak in favor of this case? Anyone? All right, would anyone present like to speak in opposition of this case? Okay, I have, sir, go ahead, come on up. And state your name and your address.
Good evening, Commissioner and Madam Chair. Dr. Jermaine Wilson, 4746 South Union, Independence, Missouri, 64055, representing the Voorheesville Board of Directors and HOA. So we are against this request. Yes, we did approve the short-term lease during the 2 months for FIFA. There have been consistent noise complaints that have been made by the person who resides also on the board in the adjoining unit. Also, in our articles and bylaws that are filed with the state for covenants and restrictions to use and occupancy, 7.1, no part of the property shall be used for any other reasons other than residential purposes for a single family. Also, 8.4 in the articles and bylaws for lease provisions, no owner shall sublease the property out without written approval of the association and community of the board, without having the official written notification giving them a granted time period to do so. So for those reasons, the community is not in favor of the short-term rental being used at the property within Voorheesville.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else present that'd like to speak in opposition? Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Janita Gray, 4743 South Union Avenue, Independence, Missouri 64055, Commissioner. I am the HOA co-chairperson, and I am responsible for community. And we have a wonderful community made up majority of senior citizens, and we're very protective of the surrounding area. They walk dogs, they're home alone, and we want to make sure that they're safe. And we have a really good community, and we granted that for a temporary situation, nothing permanent. And the noise complaints, we had several complaints, and it's not that we're trying to, we want her to prosper in everything she does, but in our community, we want it to be a family community. We want to know what's going on with our families. We want to be of resources to our families throughout the community, and that's why we're against having short-term rental. Thank you.
Excuse me, thank you. Anyone else present that would like to speak in opposition? All right. I apologize, I did not. Okay, go ahead, come forward. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth? And if so, say I will.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Your name and your address, please.
My name is Valerie Martin, and I live at 4738 South Union Avenue, there in Voorheesville in Independence.
Okay. What would you like us to know?
As a resident there in the community, the reason that I chose to purchase there and so forth was based on a lot of the information in the bylaws that has already been mentioned as far as, not having short-term rentals. And so, and like before, the residents there, and as a resident, I want to make sure that our community stays safe. The residents there, we don't have many problems, and we're family. And so a lot of us, the reason we purchased there was because of the bylaws, and we abide by those.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you very much. Anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. You have to come back up to the mic if you want to speak again. Yes, ma'am. And just state your name and address again.
Janita Gray. We have some of our residents here, and they came in support of us because, like I said, we're our family, so they're not all going to get up and speak, but we're representing our community as a whole.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else that'd like to speak in opposition? Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to invite the applicant forward again. You can address anything that they raised as a concern.
Hello.
Hi.
Should I say my name again or?
You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have consistent noise monitoring in the unit, and obviously, like the other occupants on the other side of the duplex, they do have my contact information, and I am in pretty consistent contact with them. So this is the first time I'm hearing of any noise complaints, and I do wish that these things were. Obviously, the Planning Commission has been known for a while. I do wish these things were directed to me. Everyone has my email and my phone number, and if there was contestants to have known before this meeting. But
Can you tell me about your noise monitor and how does it alert you and
Yeah.
what do you do about it?
Yeah, of course. So we have, it's also through Airbnb. It was recommended from the City of Independence from, I believe it's pronounced Minuit. And there are different restrictions. It also allows to make sure there are no like parties, no smoking, anything of that manner. And it gives notifications for any spikes in the noise, as well as we're able to track to see just general like talking, things like that. So when guests do arrive, we're able to see that as well.
Excuse me. Anything else you'd like to address that you heard?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Any additional questions for the applicant, commissioners?
Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Nesbitt.
Ma'am, it was brought up about the bylaws. Do you know about that?
I did, yes. I did receive verbal confirmation, but I did not realize it was just for the short term being the 2 months rather than the whole year, as we were applying for the year, and then it was changed to the 2 months.
Okay, so basically you've got approval for 2 months through the board, but then you didn't go, I mean, because it sounds like to me the bylaw says you're not supposed to rent that area out. Is that correct?
I
To the HOA bylaws, that you're not supposed to,
yeah, so I guess my confusion came from we were having a changing HOA board and that I was being pretty consistent in contact with. So I had I was told verbally it would be all right as long as we complied with the city ordinance and all of the rules given. And I think that is about where I stand with.
so that's where you stand at, that
Yeah.
you thought. The thing is, did you get a copy of the bylaws when you bought the property so you know exactly what they all said or anything?
Yes, that's correct.
So, in my understanding that you're really not supposed to have rental property in there after you buy something, is what it sounds like to me. Is that correct?
I think it is correct in the sense of the bylaws are still changing, and I was under the assumption that it could be still under development, and this was one of the things. But yes, you're correct.
Okay, that's just that. Okay, that answered it. Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions? All right. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner.
So based on what you've heard today, do you wish to withdraw your application and maybe come back at a different time after you've talked to the board? Or do you want us to go ahead and proceed?
Sorry. Excuse me, sorry.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just,
No, you're good. Sorry. I guess I was not sorry. Excuse me. Sorry.
You know what? I think, let me stop you for one moment and let's get some direction from staff. Rick, I would like to ask you, would you kind of address our decision and role tonight versus the homeowners association?
Sure, yes. So understand that, this body doesn't enforce the HOA covenants. Those are private between this particular applicant and the HOA. That being said, obviously this board can consider what other evidence that they choose to consider, but we don't really enforce those HOA covenants. So it really is incumbent upon the applicant to make sure that they are in compliance with whatever the regulations may be with their HOA. We don't make those legal interpretations and whether or not they're in compliance or not. So hopefully that helps a little bit with that.
And could you also clarify for the laws of the state of Missouri, is a short-term rental a small business and what that, is that not allowed in homes?
The state of Missouri does allow businesses to operate out of homes, for example. So, like I said, it really depends on how the HOA covenants are written. We're not here to be able to interpret that.
Right.
But, state as well as the city does allow home-based businesses. And so that's kind of where this would fall under. But again, it's really incumbent upon the applicant to make sure that they're in compliance with whatever HOA covenants that they may have signed on to when they purchased the property.
Okay, that helps just, I think, some context. Go ahead and, Commissioner, you had another question for.
Chair, I have another question. So, if we take a vote and it's approved or denied, if it's denied, and something's able to work out later on, there's no reason why she couldn't reapply, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so do you understand? You can go forward and we can approve or deny it, but you're still going to have to deal with the
Right.
board.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking with you, you want to just withdraw it for now? And then just talk to the board and then come back at a later time?
Yeah, no, I apologize.
Well, you're fine. I
Yeah.
understand why you probably didn't know, so
Yeah,
it's
no,
okay.
I think withdrawing for now would be a good idea. And I'm glad, oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah, I'm glad to, I mean, I've lived at the property since 2023, so I'm quite aware about the family that there is. So, oh my God, sorry. But yeah, like knowing now, like how the residents feel about it, it's definitely opened my eyes and my perspective.
Chairperson Wiley,
Yes,
one of the things that I would recommend is to have her not withdraw the application. But
Okay.
I would much rather have the item be postponed indefinitely. That way, as she goes through the HOA board and decides to bring it back forward, there isn't that reapplication fee or application
so I
fee.
have to reapply.
We can just bring it back at a much quicker pace, assuming that she clears all the hurdles that she wants to clear, so.
Okay,
Ma'am, do you understand what he was saying?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Sure.
The experience of going through all of the licensing and the business opportunities were great for me to learn. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair,
all right, yes.
I'd like to move that we postpone this item indefinitely.
Okay, I have a motion to postpone and a second from Commissioner O'Neill.
Chair, can we put case number 26-478 on there?
Yes. Would you please amend that motion?
I would like to amend my motion by stating, thank you, that we'd like to postpone indefinitely case number 26-400-78 short-term rental at 12808 East 47th Terrace Court South.
Right.
I approved it.
All right, I have a first and a second to the amended motion. All right, any additional conversation? All right, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And I will call for the vote.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Chairperson Wiley.
Yes, and the motion does pass to postpone indefinitely, 7-0. And I've also got to look up the number. Case number 26-478. Thank you. All right, our second public hearing, excuse me, our second other business is case number 26-480, short-term rental, 1215 East South Avenue.
Yes, the applicant for this case is Jose Mejia, and located at the address of 1215 East South Avenue. So if you look at the vicinity map, it's basically an area that's 3 or 4 blocks northwest of where Lee Summit Road crosses 23rd Street. And so here is the notification map showing all the properties that received notification notice. This is in an area zoned R12, but is dominated by single-family residences. So as far as the property characteristics go, some of the highlights are that the living area of this property is 1,056 square feet. They've constructed a new two-car driveway that can accommodate up to 4 vehicles, and they do have room for one parking on the street. What should be noted, and this picture will show it momentarily, the house has been extensively rehabbed. So as you can see, that is the same location there, as you can tell by the garage off to the left there. So, whoop. Okay, here's the floor plan showing living room and the bedroom up front and bedroom toward the rear, kitchen area, and a master bedroom with its own bath there up at the northwest. And then you can see the parking plan here. As far as nearby short-term rentals, this is distant from any others. There's one to the northeast, not too far. The others are south of 23rd Street and over toward Nolan Road a little more. So staff recommends approval of this short-term rental with stated conditions. Of note here is that it would be limited to 8 adults in total for the 4 bedrooms provided. And I'm ready to take any questions you may have.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Any questions for staff? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I will call the applicant forward. Is the applicant present? All right. I will go ahead and see if anyone's present who would like to speak in favor of this case. Anyone to speak in favor? Okay, is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? All right. Seeing none, any questions for staff?
Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, Brian, they're not here, so how are they working with?
I mean, I have had difficulty getting in contact with them in the last couple of weeks. They were informed by email with staff report and agenda of the meeting, so.
Okay, but have they applied, I mean, when they applied, have they did everything appropriately for everything to go ahead and go through?
Yes,
So they've been good applicants?
yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any additional questions? All right. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing.
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
I make a motion we approve case 26-480, short-term rental, 1215 East South Avenue.
Okay. I have a first
I second.
and I have a second from Commissioner Ferguson. All right. I will call for the vote.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashball.
No.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
and Chairperson Wiley.
No. And the case passes 5-2. That was case number 26-480. All right, that leaves us to our other business, case 3. It's case 26-17503. And we welcome And thank you, Tom, for leading us.
Good evening, Planning Commission and Chair. I'm going to get this closer to me. Tonight, we're presenting UDO Amendment Number 80, which establishes regulations related to data processing and hosting facilities, also known as data centers, as well as battery energy storage systems, or BESS, not to be confused with Bess Truman, so I apologize for the dad joke there. The purpose for this amendment is to establish modern use-specific standards related to data centers and to battery energy storage systems. We want to provide clear expectations to applicants while providing protections to surrounding neighborhoods, infrastructure, and public safety. Lastly, we also want to provide a predictable framework that protects the public health, safety, and welfare while supporting economic development. As you've heard in the news, data centers can bring significant investment, but they can also create unique land use considerations related to their size and to their use. BESS facilities are important for grid reliability as well as renewable energy, but with that comes safety considerations, so we have to ensure that any of those items are addressed so that they are safe in the community. The proposed amendment creates clear use-specific standards that are not currently addressed within the UDO. So this amendment, we create three categories of data processing uses. We have the accessory facilities. Think of those as serving a hospital, a school, a campus, or a small facility which is no larger than 2.5 megawatts. And what that relates to is, as far as building size, is about 20,000 square feet in floor area. And then major facilities, which is more than 2.5 megawatts. And so this tiered approach ensures that we have tailored the regulations to the size and scale as well as to the potential impacts. This amendment also creates the new article that addresses the battery energy storage systems. So kind of going through this one by one, starting with the accessory data centers. As I mentioned, this supports the primary use: schools, universities, hospitals, large campuses. They cannot operate as a standalone data center, nor can they serve as providing data hosting to third parties, so they cannot sell their services. They must be located entirely in an enclosed building, and they must comply with all adopted building, fire, electrical, mechanical, all the codes that the city has. Moving up one level to the small data processing facilities, again, this is less than 2.5 megawatts. These small facilities are located in the C2, C3, BP, and I1 zoning districts, provided that they comply with all of the requirements spelled out in section 14-429. Some of those include the setbacks based on the underlying zoning district. There is some flexibility where if the small data processing facility locates in existing buildings where there's no exterior improvements, that the existing building, those setbacks would comply. But it also includes screening requirements for mechanical equipment as well as generators. We also have parking that is based on employees, not necessarily the building size. These data centers generally have few employees and don't receive generally don't receive visitors, so so parking is based on employees. They do have some performance standards where they have to comply with the noise regulations that the city already has in place. The lighting regulations the city has in place. It does require the cooling efficiency of a closed loop system, or if in the future, whatever efficient cooling system is at that time. We also have in there that these small data centers have to comply with the generator testing requirements. In the ordinance, it outlines the hours that those can be tested and puts parameters around how frequently and how long that testing can occur. Lastly, the small data centers have to submit annual compliance reports, and they also have to abide by the decommissioning requirements that are laid out in the proposed ordinance. Jumping to the major data center, these are facilities that require 2.5 megawatts or more. This is only allowed in the I-1 district, that is the industrial district, with a special use permit. So that special use permit puts that public notification out there and invites the public to the planning commission as well as the city council. Within that section for major data centers, some of the important standards that are proposed is a minimum 100-foot setbacks for equipment, ancillary equipment. Keep in mind, this is significantly more than what our current I-1 district has. And also keep in mind, within that section, there's a host of other performance standards that they must meet. Again, it's going to be noise, lighting, a host of other things that even though 100 feet doesn't seem like much, in order to comply with some of the other regulations, the setbacks are going to be more than that requirement. Major data centers must be have a 500-foot separation from residential uses and other uses such as parks, schools, daycares, hospitals, etc. So that is similar to how we treat some of the other land uses, and that measurement is measured property line to property line. So if you have a large property and say the data center is built kind of in the middle so that it can comply with the performance standards, that 500 foot is measured from the property line to the nearest property line. We also are proposing a 100-foot buffer. This, if you are aware, we generally have a requirement for 20-foot buffers between incompatible uses, so like single family and commercial or industrial. They have to provide a 20-foot buffer. We are proposing a 100-foot buffer, which again is significantly more than what we currently require. And then on top of that, increase the landscape requirements by 25%. So again, we're getting significant buffer to separate these two uses. I mentioned before.
Chair, did you have pictures to go with your explanation, or were you supposed to be scrolling through stuff or not?
No, I don't have a
Okay, so
presentation.
people can't see what we just got to listen to what you're talking about. Okay, that's why sorry, I should have mentioned this sooner, but I sat there going,
Quite all right.
I'm saying, well, we usually have pictures. They usually go through these as they're doing it, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay, thanks.
Jumping back in, so I mentioned about with the small data centers, they have the generator testing requirements. Again, it's the same for the major. Must comply with the noise ordinance. There's limits on when they can test, how long they can test, all those things. There's information, or there's requirements in there that in certain circumstances, they may have to add noise attenuation to meet the noise requirements. Major data centers must comply with the closed loop or other equivalent low water cooling systems. Major data centers have to have a neighborhood meeting before they submit their special use permit application. This neighborhood meeting, they would notify all the property owners within 1 mile of the notice. So pretty substantial community involvement when you're dealing with a major data center. Along with that, they would have the posting of the public notice sign. We do have those larger public notice signs for larger developments, and those could be used as well. Major data centers, again, if they are seeking economic development incentives, they would have to submit a community benefit agreement to the city. Again, that's only if they are asking for financial incentives. That does not state that the city will grant that incentives, but what that does is that increases the transparency of that application. Going along, major data centers have to have a decommissioning plan as well as financial assurance as part of that to ensure that if they decommission that there are the funds available to make sure that it gets done in accordance with the proposed amendment. So that's the 3 different types of data centers. Moving to the battery energy storage systems. So this is the second portion of the amendment and establishes entirely new regulations for utility scale battery storage facility. Currently, the UDO doesn't have any standards that govern these facilities. This proposed amendment applies again to the utility scale. So this is anything larger than 600 kilowatts per hour. And you're asking why are under 600 kilowatt hours exempt from this? Those are not considered utility scale battery energy and fall under the International Fire Code Chapter 12 Energy Storage Systems. Anything above that would fall under the NFPA 855, which is falls under the International Fire Code and regulates large-scale energy storage systems. So BESS facilities would have to have a 100-foot setback from all property lines, as well from parks, schools, daycares, hospitals, and other similar types of uses. The buffer yard, again, so whenever you have the incompatible uses, the UDO, as it applies to normal development, is a 20-foot buffer. This, for the battery energy storage systems, it's a 50-foot buffer with that high-impact landscaping required. They have to have a mandatory 7-foot solid wall with security and screening around the entire facility. Have to comply with the International Fire Code, International Building Code, National Electric Code. I mentioned NFPA 855, there's UL. It's all listed out in the requirements in the proposed ordinance. As part of that, a BESS facility has to provide a hazard mitigation analysis and an emergency response plan. Both of those get reviewed by the fire department, and the details of those are spelled out in that NFPA 855. Similar to the major data center, a BESS facility has to have a detailed decommissioning plan. So if they were to no longer locate here, they have to have that plan. That plan is submitted to the city as part of their application. And there has to be a third-party cost estimation as well as financial assurance. So there's some type of financial guarantee that if that use is decides to leave the city, that the site after 12 months could be put back to what the site was before. Also, similar to major data centers, the best facilities would have to submit annual compliance certification by a professional engineer that certifies that it's still operating within the requirements. Anytime there would be an ownership change, that new owner would have to assume formal assumption of all the obligations that the previous owner undertook. So the major focus of the best facility regulations is emergency preparedness. These regulations ensure that the facilities remain safe throughout their operational life. Overall, this amendment provides predictable standards, consistent review criteria, improved compatibility, enhanced public safety, long-term accountability. So rather than reacting to projects individually, the city will have clear regulations in place with this proposed amendment. So staff recommends approval of UDO Amendment 80, and I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tom Scannell. All right, any questions for Tom?
Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Nesbitt.
Okay, Tom. So one of my questions is going to be, who's going to enforce this? Do we have personnel that does that for us, or what's going to happen? Is it just codes?
So
So basically, the
it's
noise.
a very broad question.
Yeah, I know, but basically, I mean, you already hear people complain about noise and stuff like that. So how are we going to enforce all this stuff? I mean, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's nice to have these, but who's going to enforce it? Is it? I know it's not going to be you guys. I think it's going to be the codes. I'm guessing that does this. But do we have the personnel to do stuff like this or not?
So we're already handling that now.
Okay.
So whenever we get a complaint regarding noise, we will go out there and measure that. We have proactively gone out to take baseline measurements for all the construction activity out there now so that we have the baseline information. A lot of the information that is in this proposed amendment, so say for example the sound, we have the sound study for the current data center project out there. Staff reviewed that against city code. And so we, community development and other city departments would handle the enforcement of these regulations.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to figure out if we're going to be able to enforce these. I mean, I know we got a lot of codes, a lot of information stuff out here. I just don't know if we got the personnel to do stuff like this, or is that? I mean, I don't know how much more personnel it need, but I was just curious on that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's a question for you guys, for codes people. So,
well, I can answer that, and so any noise complaint, our staff will go out and take a look at, investigate that. If it is a noise complaint, our staff, we have the sound meters. We will go out there and investigate that, take the sound readings. Community development and other departments would enforce these regulations.
okay. Now, as to the small scale ones, like you said, the hospitals and schools and stuff like that,
those would be the accessory.
Okay, so basically, they could already be doing them correctly.
Correct.
And
they may already be doing that. This just creates that legal pathway for them to do it.
Okay, but what I'm saying, are we going to make them start applying for this, even though they're already doing it, or it's just going forward?
So it would be going forward, but the way that we wrote this is that the accessory data center is allowed wherever that principal use is allowed.
Okay.
And so
I know you said they can't sell the space there, so that's why I'm trying to figure out. Say if the hospital, so a hospital's probably there's several hospitals, they all conglomerates, but I'm saying, so if this one here, would it communicate with the other ones, or has it got to stay within the area?
So take, for example, HCA. That's a nationwide hospital or organization.
Right.
If all of that information that at Centerpoint
Right.
probably goes someplace else, if they decided to bring that here, the hospitals and allowed use there, HCA is using that, and they are not selling that to
To another
Google-
hospital,
to
okay.
Google or Meta or
Okay.
stuff like that. That's what we're getting at, is where they're selling it to a commercial enterprise.
Okay, so they can go ahead and do that at a hospital if they wanted to convert a whole floor to that. I mean, I don't know, a whole floor would seem like wouldn't be accessory, it'd be going up, and wasn't that correct?
Yeah.
So would they have to apply then if they want to do that, or could they just go ahead and do it?
They could just do it. Obviously, to do that would take some permitting from, through community development, fire department would have to look at that to make sure that it's meeting the fire code, the building code, electric code, things like that, so.
So it wouldn't need a special use permit, they could go ahead and do that. That's on accessory.
Yes.
So when we go to 2.5 and under, so they would have to have a special use permit.
Those would be allowed, subject to meeting all of the conditions that are outlined in the proposed amendment.
Right. I think you said 20,000 square feet, right? Is that what you said?
That's roughly about the size, the maximum size that a 2.5 megawatt data center would be.
So somebody, I mean, say like this building here, how many square feet is this building?
About 96,000.
Okay, so half the size of this, or not even half, probably a third of the size of this, that could become a data center, if, take over a building someplace and do that. They just have to bring it up to code for the inside, not the outside.
Correct.
So they wouldn't be within their 100 feet distance from anything. So they could go ahead and do that and put the stuff on top of the building. I'm guessing generators or something like that if it's capable.
Yes, but keep in mind, we still have the performance requirements that if they do that, they still have to comply with the noise and lighting and all of those aspects. So if that building happens to be really close to a residential property line, even though the building had been there for a number of decades, if they can't meet the noise requirements, they can't go there.
Okay. Because I'm just curious. I mean, say there's a lot of vacant buildings in Independence. And
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying, could somebody do something like that? But we're trying to stop that from happening because of the noise. I don't even know how much noise these things put out, to tell you the truth. So I don't know.
I wouldn't say that we're trying to stop that, but one of the key things that we have been trying to do is find ways to repurpose some of these vacant buildings.
Right. Okay.
This may be one strategy in certain locations where it makes sense. That's far enough away from residential. It may be a site that is not adjacent to residential, is able to meet the noise requirements day and night, and are able to convert that space to a small data center.
Okay. So that is a possibility then. But we have safeguards. You're saying noise, but is there anything else besides noise that would safeguard residential areas? I mean, because if they go to a building that's already there, we got a 20 foot setback instead of a 100 feet setback. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. So we have noise, screening, lighting.
Right.
Again, the generator testing, the hours that they can test the generator, maximum of 10 hours per calendar month per generator, the record keeping they have to do, the cooling system, the decommissioning plan, the ongoing compliance. So we have all those other performance standards that they still have to comply with. So say,
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure we're trying to, since we're behind the ball on it, it's what it sounds like. That's why we're trying to get caught up to it. It's what it sounds like, correct?
This is something that communities across the United States are
Dealing with.
are dealing with. A number of communities have done the moratorium, and as part of that, the next step is the bringing forward the ordinances that the data centers would have to comply with.
Okay. To your knowledge, as of right now, the one that's been approved is following all these recommendations we have here?
So the current one is exempt from these standards.
Right, because
It's-
it got
it's
approved
everything-
before, yeah, it got approved
correct,
before
yes.
this. Well, I'm just saying, but to your knowledge, it's trying to comply with all this.
It's trying to comply with the noise, the lighting, the cooling system. It's a closed loop system. It's going to generate, or it's not going to demand the amount of water that some of the earlier generation data centers require. There's decommissioning. There's a host of things that through the incentive package we incorporated into that is now in.
Okay, so
The zoning
some of this,
ordinance.
so the incentive package had this stuff added to it.
Correct.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, that's something that, let me think if there's anything else. Anybody else got questions?
Yes. Commissioner, go ahead.
In the screening and buffering, I realize that some of this, most of the screening is probably going to be some type of physical structure, correct?
Yes, so the ordinance requires a 6-foot opaque fence with landscaping on both sides of that fence. And so what we've done is we've increased the amount of that required landscaping on both sides by 25%.
Okay. So, as we know, landscaping dies.
Requires maintenance.
Yes. So, do you guys even go out and look at some of the landscaping that's been done before? I mean, you look at it initially and approve it. Are they required to keep it up after that?
Yes,
Okay. So,
that is part of the, I believe it's part of the annual reporting.
okay, that was my question, is they report to you and you guys have the staff to go out and look? Because I'm not always sure that happens, and I'm not putting you guys down. I'm just saying that as I drive around, I don't know that it's always replaced.
When I first started with the city, we had staff that would periodically go out and inspect, continue to inspect those properties' landscaping to ensure that it was maintained. Over the years, as budget tightening has occurred, that those duties have fallen on other staff, and it's, you know, one of those things that we triage to try to do the best that we can.
I understand, and I'm sympathetic. So, on the other hand, does anybody ever call and say, hey,
Occasionally
I can see this building now?
Occasionally we do get those calls, and that is when our staff goes out and investigates that and makes sure that whatever was there is put back.
Okay.
Generally, it's put back to you know, the much smaller variety versus the 10 to 20-year-old tree.
Well, sure, I understand. And I'm sorry to ask you this, but when you were explaining the property line to property line, the 100-foot,
You mean the 500-foot separation?
you know, whatever. So there's you said property line to property line. Which property line to what property line? I mean,
Good question.
okay. I'm sorry you lost me when you said that, and I just was curious as to what you meant.
So the property line to property line separation, it's nearest property line to that residence, hospital, daycare, and that distance is as a crow flies. So
So
take for example, pull up one of your maps. I'll have Gabe pull up one of the
Okay.
maps. And so you're used to seeing that 185-foot buffer. So imagine that buffer being 500 feet. And if it touches any of those uses,
So
whether
from
it's,
from a resident or something that's supposed to be buffered,
then
that property line
that
to yours
use,
property
then that use cannot
towards
go
the,
there.
towards the structure. 500 feet.
Yeah. So something like what is shown on that picture there.
Yes.
So instead of 185 feet, which is shown on that map, that would be 500 feet. And if it touches any of those residential uses, zoning, churches, schools, daycares, hospitals, nursing homes, that data center could not go there.
Okay, and that's a relatively small property, so is it from the center of the property or the property line of the
It's
property?
it's from the property line.
Property line of the property?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
All right. Additional questions for Tom?
Chair, I have a couple, maybe.
All right. Go ahead, Commissioner Young.
So, probably my first question has to do with that, because the Nebius facility is grandfathered at this point, so they're not required to follow this, but it's also includes anybody that's also applied. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so we have Patmos as well, who's applied for, so they would not be required to follow any of the UDO amendment number 80. With regards to the decommissioning and site restoration, so there's 3 different requirements that are listed because there's 3 different types, and each one of them is different. It seems to me that I would think that they'd all be the same. I would think that they'd all have to put up a letter of credit or a bond or something, because if these go away, if they decide not to use them anymore, why wouldn't we want to make sure that they have the money set aside to fix it? And then the second part of that question is if we're approving them to have less than adequate parking for a normal facility, why would we approve them to have less than adequate parking? Or I would think that we'd at least make them put adequate parking in to if they're decommissioned, so that they can actually be used for something else. Because otherwise, what other business can be able to use that property without incurring a significant expense of putting in additional parking? I have a parking lot. I know how expensive it is to put concrete and asphalt down. So that would be a hard sell for me to buy that property at that point.
Yeah, the differences between small data centers and the major data centers on the decommissioning is on the small data center, if it's an existing building, the intent is to try to put that back to where the data center moves out, something else could move back in there. To address the parking, the use that was probably the original use before the small data center probably has significantly more parking than what would be required by this data center. On major data centers, it's the financial assurance, because at that point it is most likely going to be a new build, and the intent is to try to put that back to a usable industrial space. So even though it may be 400,000 square feet or 200,000 square feet, the goal is to try to put that back to a 200,000 square foot industrial space that somebody could lease out.
But it says in there that the major data center, it's only that the city may recommend. It's not a requirement on the major. It's only a requirement on BESS. The guarantee.
Let me look at that.
the city may require financial assurance.
Yep.
May. But shouldn't it say they will, in my opinion?
Again, this is staff's recommendation, so planning commission can make changes to what we are recommending. And if the commission feels that the may should be a shall, they can do so.
And I did have another question. With regards to the neighborhood metering requirements, 15 days, and 1 mile is great. Of course, I'd like to see a 5-mile radius, but 1 mile is way better than what we normally give people attention for. But 15 days is often pretty short notice, especially on projects that are this large. I would like it to be more like 30 days notice for people so they can actually plan to attend and be a part of this process and something this impactful for their neighborhood. And then I also would like it to be a certified mail so that there's actually some accountability and checks and balances there to make sure that people are actually getting these letters that go out. I don't know that there was a question in there, but
Well, if there is, I'll add one. Right now, it's 185 feet, right?
For standard zoning applications, the notification distance is 185 feet, correct?
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like when Menards came in, it was 185 feet.
Correct.
And that's quite a large building. And 185 feet is nothing
Yeah, parking lot.
for a building that huge. So I had approached a state representative one time and said, is there any talk about maybe changing this? Because a building that large does, and he said, standard answer is like, well, we don't have enough political capital and we don't, probably it's something we're not considering because it's just too much effort. And you're changing this to 1 mile. So I'm asking you, is the state going to allow you to do that?
So the city's a home rule city, and so we can establish more stringent rules.
So why didn't we
As it related-
establish them for other places that do impacts like that? Just because we just never thought it was important to do, or or nobody ever raised the question, or?
And so again, so this is for a neighborhood meeting. It's not the required public notice. This is the neighborhood meeting. So this is not the required notice for public meetings. And the purpose of the neighborhood meeting, as Commissioner Young mentioned, is to get the community conversation started before they file their application. Then as they file their application, their special use permit application, it would then go through, the normal notification process. But because they held the neighborhood meeting before the application was ever submitted, that community conversation has already started.
Okay, well then I would agree with Commissioner Young that there's more stringent notice, because just putting a sign out, is often not enough.
In this day and age, just to add some commentary with social media and stuff, a lot of that is through word of mouth and gets spread pretty quickly. But still, one thing that we wanted to have is, as part of the neighborhood meeting before the application is filed, that large community conversation about the issue.
Well, I understand that, and you're probably right, it's pretty effective. I am one person that does not engage with social media, though, because it drives me crazy. Okay, so just letting you know that. I did have another question, though. Is there any restriction on the height or depth of this building?
The height would follow for major data centers, it would follow the I-1 height restriction.
And that restriction is,
Look that up real quick.
oh, Tom, I thought you'd had that memorized.
You know Rick
Man, I
does.
don't have everything memorized.
That's fine.
I will get you that answer shortly.
Okay. Height and depth, right?
In the I-1 district, there is no height requirement. Depth, what do you mean by depth?
Basements?
Basements.
What do you mean there's no height requirement? They can go as high as they want?
Correct.
Okay.
On the depth question, that's going to be limited by if there's anything in the building code regarding that, as well as the cost of
Well,
going
sure.
down.
I mean, I understand about the cost.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money in these data centers, isn't there? So
Yeah,
maybe they
'cause
could
depth-
afford
depth,
it.
they can go deep.
Okay, so, I mean, so does that include caves? We got some caves around here.
The caves have a underground zoning district. And this major data centers are only allowed in the I-1 district, so not the underground zoning district.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
All right, Tom, I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Because I really care greatly about being a very positive business community to engage with outside development, which I'm sure you are. Could you just give me a kind of a summary overview of when you talk about the 2.5 megawatts versus large, kind of what would be a similar business that already exists here in Independence that maybe would meet small data utility uses versus the megas?
I could give you a rough idea, again, building size-wise. Again, probably that 20 to 30,000 square foot building size. So maybe about the size of a Walgreens or CVS, or slightly larger than that.
Okay.
Again, I think those generally tend to be about 15,000 square feet, plus or minus. So something around that size, maybe slightly larger.
Okay. And the use of our IPL in our water, is there anything comparison to the small data centers and the large?
So in talking with our IPL director, they were comfortable with that 2.5 megawatts. They feel comfortable that they can adequately, provide that amount of power without too much trouble. Once you start getting larger than that, then they start to have to kind of put their pencils to paper and really crunch some numbers. As far as water goes, because we are requiring the closed loop, basically low demand water, we have the ability to provide significantly more water to serve these data centers, but we thought it's best to, again, stick with that cooling closed loop system so that the water can be used for citizens and we still have plenty in reserve.
Okay.
I think it was mentioned when the Nebius project was going through that Nebius was going to be about the 51st largest water user, so about the size of a Quick Trip.
Okay. And then the reason I ask that is that when I just look at the general UDO regarding this, I just want to make sure my understanding is clear. we don't have anything in the books regarding data centers or battery centers. And now we have a need. We're seeing this as a national conversation.
Correct. So the UDO currently allows data centers by right. There's no performance standards in there. The UDO is silent when it comes to the battery energy storage systems. So as part of this, we wanted to address both uses and get some standards in the UDO so that we can adequately address these.
Okay. So we know that this has been obviously a very big topic. So we have a moratorium, and that moratorium currently is in place for how long?
180 days, or until these regulations are in effect.
And I know your department probably created this document. It seems very rushed to me. Do you think this document contains what it absolutely needs to? Would it be helpful to our city ordinances to give it more time and reflection? I just kind of wanted it, because it seems very rushed.
Yeah, so
With a moratorium in place, I feel like we have time, so.
to answer that, we've placed moratoriums in the past on some other uses, used car lots, tobacco stores, liquor stores, those types of things. And we brought forward an ordinance or proposed changes relatively quick after that amendment.
Okay.
Those moratoriums went into effect. So to answer your question, is this rushed? We've been working on this for a couple months now.
Okay.
We have looked at different cities that generated or had ordinances in place when data centers first started to hit Virginia. Looked at those. They've gone back and revised them. So I mentioned that this is UDO number 80. We've done a lot of UDO amendments. It's a living, breathing document, and so we'll continue to do that.
That was going to be my next question, is how easy it is to make changes if we find out we need them.
Yes, so that's not a problem at all. But in looking at what different cities have done, we pulled together the best practices that we thought fit here.
Okay. My final question for right now would just be keeping in mind what is good for citizens, but also generates positive feelings with economic development. Some of this, the increased, I think the word that was used was sizably more than what we've done before from a setback and some of the other things. Is, in your opinion, is that the right amount, and is it required based on the concerns?
So, like you said, it is a balancing act to strike that balance between economic development and the public health, safety, and welfare. So with that in mind, the regulations that we proposed, from our opinion, we strike that balance. Again, if we find that we're out of alignment with that, there is that possibility, again, because the UDO is a living, breathing document, to bring further amendments back.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your candor. Any additional questions for
Chair.
staff? Yes.
Rick, on the closed loop systems, are the large ones, are they, I want to say, outdoor, or are they indoor closed loop systems?
Well, I would say probably a lot of their cooling yards are outdoor right now.
Okay.
There's obviously some discussions across the country, I think, of some of those potentially being indoors, but right now, I mean, they're a closed loop system. It's kind of like a little bit of a radiator like in your car, so it's not like anything's exposed to the outside, but they do have cooling units that are typically outside.
So do we need to put up something around them, barriers to keep the deer from jumping into them, or? I mean, because I mean, hopefully we're still around wooded areas of deer, because deer's all over the place. But I mean, I don't know what these cooling systems, they got any type of chemicals in them or just straight water?
So we do, I mean, a lot of times these are going to have sound walls around them as well.
Okay.
But we do have the buffering requirements with any of the commercial properties. For
Well, you
things
said a
like fencing.
6-foot screen width. Will that be, but see, that's not around the whole property area, right? I mean, you got a 6-foot fence for them to get in too? Is that what the deal, is that what we're saying?
So in regards to the buffer,
Right.
it is a 6-foot privacy fence wall with landscaping on both sides. Generally, these facilities are secure facilities.
So they are gated, in other
With
words.
they're gated, they have guard posts, so the entire property is gated. To go back to the question regarding the outdoor mechanical equipment, our current ordinance requires that to be screened. And so any existing project that has outdoor mechanical equipment, that will have to be screened, and that screen will have to be equal to the height of that mechanical equipment. So if it's, 10 feet tall, that screen wall is gonna have to be
Oh, so it's
10
gonna have
foot
to have a
tall.
10-foot screen wall around. Okay, so that's going forward even with the ones that's already going right now.
That is correct.
Okay, so that's already part of our UDO or something like that then?
Correct.
Okay. I had another question now if I can think of it, but right now I can't.
Anyone else?
Yes.
All right, Commissioner.
Do you happen to know if the water in the closed loop system is considered a hazardous waste, or can it be dumped in the sewer system?
I'm probably not the best person to answer that. It's going to be more of our environmental people. But my understanding is, I mean, we obviously have to know the limits of what's going to be in those. And so whatever those limits are will determine if whether or not, how that water is disposed of.
But our sewer system's monitored.
Yes,
correct?
yeah,
So, and they're supposed to tell us what's in there.
that is correct. Yep.
Okay. So if there's a leak, we'll eventually find it out.
Yes.
Okay. And my other question had to do with, you're talking about it's a living, breathing document. How often does this living, breathing document go to the doctor to be looked at? Or we just kind of wait till something happens and then that's when we react?
So we internally are encountering things that we see as like, oh, we need to change that. And so as we come across different things, we will bring those forward. Again, over about 15 years, 80 amendments. I'm going to do some quick math, and I'm always bad at quick math. What's that? Average of 5, a little over 5 per year amendments. So as we come across different things that may or may not work, we bring those forward.
Okay.
Tom, can a citizen, council member, planning commission person, can anyone address or bring up a concern about an ordinance and have you consider amending it?
Yes, that is where we came up with the used car lot.
Okay.
If you remember, this body had several discussions. Rick did the presentation on the used car lots, and from that came forth those changes. So
All right, thank you very much. Any additional questions?
Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Nesbitt.
So Tom, on the mid-size data center,
Small size?
small size, okay. Trying to figure out what word. Small size, what is our radius, 185 feet for telling people?
For the notification?
Yeah, for notification.
The small data center would not have any notification. It would be allowed, subject to meeting all the criteria for a small data center.
It doesn't get a special use permit too, or no?
No.
Oh, so there's no notification on that one at all? Okay.
It's only the large requires a special use permit after they held that neighborhood meeting.
Okay. On the battery system stuff, is there people looking to do that here in Independence, or are we just trying to be proactive?
It's a little bit of both. So our IPL department has been talking with a BESS facility. And in fact, the city council gave the city manager, this was a few years ago, authorization to continue those discussions. But we wanted to be proactive so that.
So we're no application at this time.
Correct, there's no
So
application. at this time.
basically, all these rules would apply to anything coming forward on battery.
There is the exception in there, so I don't know if there's any certain approvals that have already been granted, so we'd have to look into that to see if they would, if that current application, or not application, that current use would be exempt from those.
Well, do we have any current batteries
We
systems?
do not know.
Okay, so we have no applications for current so that's what I'm thinking. Okay, thank you.
All right, are we ready to invite the applicant forward? All right. Is anyone here? I guess, Tom, anything to add?
Good.
Rick? Okay. We will continue with the hearing. Anybody present who would like to speak in favor of this amendment? Speak in favor? All right, go ahead and come forward. Were you sworn in, sir?
Not yet.
Okay. Is there anyone present that has not already been sworn in? Okay. Go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth tonight? If so, say I will.
I will.
Thank you. And state your name and your home address.
Okay. So I'm Daniel Moorhead. I'm actually representing the Independence Guard Alliance in this conversation. So first of all, I feel like this is a thing I've studied for 9 months to come up here and have these conversations. I'm sitting in the back with lots and lots of input. I think it's exceptional that we want to have good business here in Independence. I think we should have that kind of activity here in Independence. The challenge is in 2024, when we added data processing and hosting as a body to the current zoning, we actually opened a huge door for anything called data center, basically, into Independence. The challenge that most people may not have understood at that time, although the research was already out there, was, I'm sorry, I should have asked, how long do I have?
You have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. 716 North Bly. I actually live right up the way from the property. So.
Okay, I'll let your time start now, so you
Okay.
get a little extra. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Number one, the challenge that you're having right now is that you're all saying data center. You actually have a problem with saying just data center. You don't have categories of data center articulated. You have sizes, so we're talking about different sizes. You don't have different categories. There are data centers that do just data. There are data centers that do AI training. There are going to be data centers that are somewhere in between. They're going to be called hyperscalers. They're going to have all kinds of different levels in between. You really need to start talking about those stratifications as well as the categorizing of those data centers. Second, my goodness, I've got a whole list of items here that I need to get through. The measurement for this should be megawatts per square foot. What you're trying to do is figure out whether a 2.5 megawatt item fits, and right now they are making data centers that are basically little generators that sit outside of your house and start to help with a lot of the AI training. So you're struggling to articulate these items, but in effect, you haven't actually accounted for what's already coming to market. So for instance, if you have one of these things that's sitting basically right outside of your house, you have a new noise challenge potentially for all of your nearby neighbors, because each one of those is going to produce their own noise and heat. You have a problem in the fact that when we talk about Nebius, it's going to go from 200 megawatts to 1.2 gigawatts, and Patmos will go from 17 megawatts to 50 megawatts. That's a fairly large jump if they're able to do that. Neither of those things are actually accounted for in the current coding, because what's happening now is we're basically saying anybody that has already been applied gets to have free reign to keep going. I would caution that if you create a special case for what the horse is already out of the gate at this point, you really need to actually say, if you've gotten your permit, great, there's nothing we can do. We agreed to those terms at that time. But if there's no permit, if they haven't produced a site plan, if they haven't actually delivered on some of those items, I would caution that this zoning currently doesn't actually update correctly. It should actually include anybody that doesn't have a permit yet, because you'd want those folks to follow the exact same rules as anybody new coming in. On the 17th of June, I actually delivered a very robust version of the zoning that you could implement. I have gotten no receipt back to say that that has been considered by anybody in the city. I'd be happy to talk with anybody on this group to talk through what each one of those pieces would mean, how we could actually keep a very strong business presence, but also make sure that we're finding the right places to put these, because effectively your current Nebius site won't fit into I-1. It's already.
Sir,
outside.
I am going to go ahead and ask you, we've made a decision on Nebius as a city.
Sure.
And so we are not going to include it in this conversation. I think it will save you some time.
Permitting. I'm actually talking about permitting.
Tonight is about an amendment.
Correct. The amendment actually excludes all of the, it's very lax. It gives a huge amount of space for any
So
inserting.
you're not in favor of this amendment, you're in opposition?
Let me say this. I'm in favor of the fact that we're increasing the zoning. So yes, I'm very much in favor of the zoning.
Okay.
That's why I said complicated. I didn't know how to articulate. I'm in favor of what you guys are doing.
I would
and
say
also-
go ahead and go with your list then, just
Okay.
keeping in mind kind of the define of where we are on this discussion.
So I'll just make this recommendation. One, I think this should be turned down for today. You have 180 days to work through this. I think it should go back and do a little bit more study to make sure that you're actually stratifying and categorizing correctly, because that will save you some of this challenges in the future. The question was brought up on, can we enforce all these things? It's currently not being enforced well at the Nebius site. I would say providing better clarity up front avoids a lot of the back-end discussions that are happening even now at our current site. I'd be happy again to work with anybody in this group, the city, to bring forth those items and to have a very frank discussion on those things. I think my 5 minutes is probably up at this point.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I appreciate it. Right, is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of this amendment? In favor? All right, is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition? Anyone in opposition? I'm kind of surprised.
Chair,
Yes,
could I have the last applicant come back up? He was
Yeah.
very interesting. and I'd like to
Okay.
hear some more, because it sounds like we're not doing our job correctly. What he's talking about, I can understand. If he's talking about, what he's saying is that a person can put a generator at their house and run this stuff, that's going to be noisy, because I've been to places where these generators are noisy. You're wondering what the heck is going on outside. You can't go outside your house next door if somebody's running these generators. Now, get it that the generator is because the power went out, but if they can run these generators all the time, this is going to be a problem.
okay.
So I would like that applicant to come back up. Since there's nobody else here, I'd like to hear some more about
Okay.
what he has to say, if that's
Let
okay.
let me address first.
Okay.
Staff, where would a personal generator be in effect regarding this UDO? Because private property, et cetera, just wondering.
I don't believe the UDO has any requirements for setbacks or anything associated with that. They would have to pull the necessary electrical permits through the city, but that's all that I can think of at this point.
So an individual would still have to be permitted to own or to bring something like this
To
forward?
have a whole house generator sitting in their side yard, yeah, they would have to pull a permit from the city, and that would have to be inspected as the work went along.
Okay.
I mean, you see that advertisement all the time on TV, generator when power goes out. But if he's saying something about we're using generators for AI, that's coming down the road. Maybe we should look at that because that does make I mean, I've been to a city when I walked outside after power went out and I'm looking around, what is all this noise? And the whole neighborhood was lit up with noise, but the power was out. But if they're going to be able to do that with AI stuff, that's the first time I ever heard of this. I think we need to look into this, maybe do something about it, because that's going to be a definite problem.
Okay. Commissioner, you look like you were turning on your mic there.
Do that all the time. And then I turn it off when I'll turn it on though, and I will agree with Laurie and say that I think you guys, and with the gentleman who just spoke, why don't we give you a little more time? Because there's a lot to know, apparently. I mean, are you opposed to that? There's a moratorium, it's already in place. What's the rush? I'm apt to propose an amendment that the city council, we recommend to the city council that we have future study about this before we actually take a vote. So can you respond to that and tell me if you agree or disagree?
So again, this amendment is staff's recommendation.
How about this, Tom?
Yeah.
What are our choices tonight in making a recommendation or not making a recommendation?
We can postpone it.
So you have the ability to, approve, deny. Let me see what the UDO says.
Because I don't think we can give staff work.
You can make changes. So the planning commission must recommend approval, modified approval, or denial of the amendment. And then that vote, either for or against the amendment, must be by a majority of all of the planning commissioners present.
So no postponement?
No.
Thank you for that clarification.
Well, because even though we can make changes, this still has to go to council.
Correct. Yes, the planning commission is a recommending body to the city council.
Right. So you said we can recommend with
Modifications.
modifications, but we can't direct,
Or we could deny and the reason why.
we can
Yeah.
deny and it'll still go to council. And we can give a reason for denial.
Correct.
My question at this time to you, Commissioner Young, is as it stands, would you like to recommend those changes that you were concerned about?
I can do so. So I could make a motion to approve with the following conditions and also being open to other people's conditions that they might want to add. But my conditions that I think are important would be to require the bond or letter of credit in all three cases for the decommissioning plans so that they're equal and weighted. Also requiring them to bring in the larger facility and the best facility, the parking up to city requirements if it is decommissioned at the cost to the person, to the company who built the facility. That there be at least 30 days notice given for a neighborhood meeting. And I also would make the recommendation that for those that don't currently have a permit, that they have to follow the UDO.
Also, mailing, certified mail.
So, attorney, could I ask your opinion? Do we need to take each one of those changes up individually? Can we add them as one motion to?
You can take them up as an aggregate, or you can take them individually. The person that is, or the chairperson that's presenting that needs to understand the risk of doing so by putting them all up for vote at one time, or you can go individually.
Okay. All right. If we approve the changes but deny the UDO, do those changes remain in the written UDO?
Can you rephrase that again?
If we approve the motion to make those changes and then in the end deny to recommend the UDO, do those amendments stay in?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. And did you want to?
Before we get to that, I
Yes.
want to make sure that we have all of Commissioner Young's changes.
Yes.
For the record.
Well, I was just going to say, do we want to take them one at a time or do we want to take them in aggregate? And that's up to you, sir, making the motion.
I just want to make sure that staff
Staff has them all wrote down.
Right.
has it down.
Oh, goodness.
So if I could help out,
Okay.
because I remember one of the changes, you want the small data center and major data center to require the financial assurance. That's
Also-
in the BES.
And the best, correct.
Got that one.
Yep.
On the major data center, 30-day notification, certified.
Correct. In the event of
And
a
then the
decommission-
parking on the
Large.
Decommission.
data center
large,
and BES. Because those are only two that don't have a requirements parking.
both of those do have
Well,
requirements for
but
parking.
smaller.
The small
require-
ones.
yeah, but-
I thought the conversation was
Because those
regarding the small
buildings
one.
would be more buildings in most cases, well, not necessarily most. If it's an existing building, it's probably gonna already have parking, plenty of parking
Correct.
for it. If it's a new building that's going in, and they're not having to build to the standards of a traditional new building, they should have to put in traditional, that meet the normal requirements so that that building can be sold without a huge cost to the person
New
behind the
applicant.
building.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that would apply to, so the addition of parking would apply to the new building in small,
If there
small,
was such a thing, I don't know that there ever would be a small.
you never know. We have to think
Sure.
holistically.
Yep.
And then the major data centers would have to provide parking
In the
to
event of a
meet
yeah.
the UDO standards. Okay.
Yeah. And then the,
In the decommissioning section.
correct,
We're just trying to make sure that we have this
yep,
the way that you want
100%.
it.
And then, the last one I mentioned was if they don't currently have a permit, that they must follow this UDO.
And is that across the small data
Like
center?
Atmos specifically,
Okay,
because they're the only ones that I know of that are,
small, major.
Yeah.
And, okay,
obviously we can't go back and change the past. So, but we can change what's moving forward. Well, it hasn't moved forward yet. If it's not permitted, it's not permitted, just because you filed an application.
So the PAPMOS would fall under the major data center category.
So those are my thoughts. It's up to everybody else, if you will. I'm okay leaving them all together, but if we want to run them one at a time and vote on each one of them, I'm fine with that as well.
Madam Chair,
What'd you say?
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Asking for
Commissioner.
permission to talk.
Yes.
I like your ideas, but I don't think we know enough about what we're talking about to recommend or do anything. I mean, why would we recommend stuff and then deny it? It's doesn't make much sense to me. So
Well, the reason why to do it is so that it will go to the council and see that we did look at it and we think these need to be done. If they still want to approve it, we need to make sure they're on there, these things that we think of right now. There should be more things in here, yes, 'cause I mean, like I said, I like to have that guy come back up and explain, because he was saying 4 or 5 different type of data projects can be in a data center.
Yeah.
And he says we need to specify each different product, which it probably needs to be done. I mean, did he come to you, Tom? And did you guys see anything from the cities, from this, I can't remember his name,
Moorhead.
Moorhead? Did he give you any type of information on this type of stuff?
So he submitted some of his comments through the city clerk that made its way to Rick and I forget when that was, if that was over the weekend.
Okay,
And
so
then-
it,
and
that
then
really,
we
so
forwarded
it's just recently. You guys really hadn't had enough time to look at, probably.
But just to clarify, the commission can, take action on the amendments.
Mhm.
And then have a separate vote on your recommendation for the amendment to the city council.
Right. I mean, we already got a motion on the floor for that, so, I mean, we're gonna go to that, but I'm just wondering, so basically you guys hadn't had time, but he brought up a lot of information I didn't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew about this stuff or not.
I'm going to go ahead and ask that we table that for, and address the motion at hand, please.
Okay.
So we have a first
Second.
As well.
and we had a second. All right. Any additional questions, comments about
yes,
Commissioner Young? Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Tom had made mention about it had to be unanimous. Is that just for the whole UDO or is that for the amendment part?
It doesn't need to be a unanimous vote.
No, they said majority.
It's just majority
Is that what you
vote.
said? Okay, thank you.
All right. I will call for the vote on the motion to amend the amendment with the changes as stated.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Yes,
So that is on the amendment.
amendment listed to add to the UDO.
Yes.
All right, and that does pass 7-0. All right, now, Commissioner Nesbitt, you had additional questions about just the UDO in itself, which is where we were.
Yeah, where we are is that, like I'm saying, is I don't think we got enough information on this UDO according to other facts that we brought to us tonight. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew about it. I didn't know about it. I don't know. The staff says they got it over the weekend. So it sounds like to me they haven't had time to digest it either. So it sounds like to me I would love to make a recommendation to postpone, but according to we cannot do that. So that's where I'm standing at. I mean, I don't have enough information to make any other motion stuff.
Okay.
Okay, one more question.
Commissioner Ashbaugh?
Tom, if we deny and they accept it, then it is what it is.
Correct.
UDO is what it is. If they deny and then they also deny, then you guys are still tasked with going back and making it better, right?
That is correct. So if the planning commission makes a recommendation, goes on to city council, and say city council approves the UDO amendment, whatever the city council approves, that's the rules going forward. Should the city council postpone indefinitely or remand back to staff, then it falls back in our court to do more research and then bring, depending on what, again, what that motion is from the city council, whether that goes back through the full process again, or whether that just goes straight back to city council. One thing to address that I forgot to mention is within the changes, we do have updates to the definitions of data processing and hosting facilities, which encompasses the broad AI, cloud computing, data center, all that stuff, and it is for each, the accessory, the small, and the major. So with that, hopefully I answered your question and provided a little more context.
And so in regards to categories, you feel like that's built into your definitions?
Correct. And
Okay.
and obviously when you're dealing with, new technology, as those come forward, we will adapt, get out in front of that and bring forward any changes that we see fit. I mean, as Rick and I were chatting here, yeah, that's something that one of the major AI companies is looking at. When it comes forward to actual homeowners' homes, we don't know. So.
All right, thank you. Any additional questions for staff? All right. And so I am going to close the public hearing.
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
I make a motion how do I say this?
You have to approve it.
Approve case 26175-03, UDO amendment number 80.
Second.
Okay, I have a first from Commissioner Nesbitt, a second from Commissioner O'Neill. I will call
Chair.
for the vote.
No, Chair.
Yes.
Questions now, comments. I'm thinking we're lacking here. I mean, I don't know if you all thinking that or not, but I'm thinking we're lacking enough information. I would like to get more ahead of what's going on out there than what we're seeing here, because it's going to be more. And like I say, just that one got me all upset, is that people are going to have this stuff at their houses, and we're not even addressing that stuff. I mean, I know it's probably down the road another couple of years, but even we asked staff if they have enough help to enforce the stuff. He already said they had to cut. So if we don't get enough staff to enforce, how are we going to enforce codes on big people? And I'm a little leery about this, because I brought the question up, are we enforcing stuff? And I don't know if we really are, because just like he says, you go around at some of these trees and bushes and stuff are not being kept up on other places that are around, they should be getting fined. And we should be making money off of it through the city through fines. So I just don't understand why we should do something without more enforcement on it too. So that's where I stand.
Right. Any additional comments before we vote?
Chair, I would agree with Commissioner Nesbitt. I think there's, it's probably a good start, but I think there's more needed. And I think there are more voices need to be heard with regards to this.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
Commissioner?
I add my voices to my fellow commissioners and say, we need more info. We don't know. I'm a landscaper. I don't know about this stuff. So, but I can read, and I think we're a little bit lacking on stuff, and we need to be as prepared as we can. So I'm going to be a denier.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, I will call for the vote.
Gotta turn my mic. Commissioner Ferguson,
No.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
No.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
No.
Commissioner Young,
No.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
No.
Chair Wiley.
No. The motion does fail, 6-1.
1 to 7. Or 1 to 6. Can't do that.
I was thinking, yes, that adds up to 7, so. And I would just add, I always like to add my comment, with that, we do just, I don't think any of us disagree that a UDO is needed. Just use the moratorium time to really bring forth just a great document that can be a little more forward-thinking. But I know you guys, I personally know how hard you have worked to create a balanced UDO with the information we've known. So I truly do thank you for your time and effort. I hope you can breathe easier knowing you have a few months to work on it, hopefully. Obviously, we're just recommending, so we'll see what the city council says. So, all right, any final comments? All right, I want to thank everybody for your thoughtful and civil participation, and have a great night. This meeting is adjourned. You okay? No? Are you okay?
Good catch.
Thank you for voting yes, because I think it shows we were very thoughtful and balanced.
Oh, Lana, nice to meet you in person.
For